Welcome to Last Call. I'm Dean Blandino. Mike Pereira is back. And yes, I'm having a party at my house for the Rose Bowl. Bring your friends. Come stay with me. I got plenty of room. I got air mattresses. I got to go home and stock the fridge some more. Bring the beer. Bring the chips. Party at my house for the Rose Bowl.
I think that's very generous of you. I think that's terrific. It'd be a great time. I mean, can they bring their kids and everything too? You gonna have your kids there?
Everybody's invited. We got plenty of space. I want everybody to come. Penn State, if Penn State makes it, we're going to have a meet and greet. We're going to get Matt Millen to show up. It's going to be hilarious.
And I think it's also great that you've invited everyone to the Fox studios, not this coming Sunday, but the following Sunday, to join you in the studios and spend the entire day with you. Yeah, be a lot of fun. Let's see if we can pack that studio.
Let's do the rundown. Bondo's in my ear. Pereira's already back and he's delaying the show. We're going to talk pass interference. 49ers Ravens, the game of the week. We're going to talk about a critical call at the end of the Chargers Broncos game. We're going to talk overall big picture. Where is PI review? Another rule change possibility. Onside kicks. Where are we with that? We're going to talk about Bondo's beloved Bills, and he's been in our ear all week about his Bills after their big win on Thanksgiving. And then we're going to show you, we're going to take a trip back down memory lane, and we're going to show you a picture of young Mike Pereira, one of his first officiating assignments.
I have not seen this, by the way, so I'm claiming innocence on this.
Well, let's get started. Let's get started with the play of the week. Pass interference. This was Niners Ravens. Great game, went down to the wire. Ravens won. But this was a call. Jimmy Ward, Mark Andrews going up for the football. No call on the field. Ravens coach John Harbaugh challenges, and the call was not overturned. The call stood, no PI. Mike, was this the right call?
Well, I think it's the right call. To me, we always talk about equal rights to the path of the ball. You can't play through the back, but if you're making a legitimate attempt to make a play on the ball, side-by-side contact is not a foul. And this, to me, fell into that category. It's close.
It is close.
But, to me, it is, Jimmy Ward's certainly making a play in the ball and goes up, and the contact, as you look at some of those stills, it's on the side. So to me, I think it was absolutely right not calling it, and absolutely right for replay to stay with it.
And there were a lot of people talking about this. I think we had a couple of tweets about this. Obviously, Blake Cunningham. What's up, Blake? He wanted us to cover the call on Last Call, which we're doing now. And then an interesting tweet from one of our former colleagues at the NFL, Terry McCauley, who was adamant that this was pass interference. And look, like you said, and have a lot of respect for Terry, but sometimes Terry likes to, he likes to stir the pot a little bit. If you remember, we had some fun with Terry last year. The game of the year, everybody was raving about Chiefs Rams. It was 53-51, and everybody was like, this is amazing. Well, Terry said, oh, by the way, while everybody's celebrating, the game was 3 hours and 30 minutes long. So I made a comment that he's kind of the Grinch around Christmas. So that's what I take that for Terry. But we love Terry. It's a close call. There's a lot of contact. If contact's early. But like you said, the defender has a right to the path of the football, and I didn't feel the contact was clearly through the back. He can't play through the back, but I thought he got enough of the shoulder, and he was playing the ball. To me, if you switch the roles and you make the defender the receiver, and a receiver jumps up to make that catch and makes contact with the defender, I don't think people are up in arms about it not being pass interference.
And two, I would say, look, if it was clear and obvious, then Al Riveron would have added it on, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that later. But of the 5 plays where interference was challenged or not, he actually added on 3 out of 5. So I think it was the right decision, period.
I agree.
All right, let's move on to another one. Now, this one is a big call at the end of the Chargers-Broncos game. This is pass interference on Hayward. Mike Pereira, thoughts on reviewing the PI in the Chargers-Denver game? Could not be challenged, certainly, because it was inside of 2 minutes. Completely decides the game. Well, so what? He's not saying overturn, but no review. Well, I think the review word is not a great word to use. The better word is to confirm. If they can confirm in New York that they aren't going to change it, then there's no reason to stop it for actually 3 minutes to take a look at it. And to me, this was the right call. And it is a big call. And, I got to say, to Aaron Santee, who's the young man that stepped up and made the call, you get criticized all the time. And sometimes you need to shout out that it was really a good call. And it's a cutoff. The defender Hayward, I think in the LA Times today, was interested, read the article. He said the pass wasn't catchable. He thought, well, it's catchable. He said he was trying to find the ball. That's not playing the ball. If you play into the receiver and you actually make contact without making a play on the ball, that's considered a cutoff. And to me, this was really a classic cutoff that made a difference of, yes, who wins or loses the game. Anthony Lynn says afterwards, not a call you want the official to make at that time of the game. I don't get that. I mean, if it's a foul, you need to call it in the first quarter or the fourth quarter. So kudos to me, to Aaron Santee, who makes that big call.
I thought it was a big call. I thought it was the right call. It was pass interference. He cut the receiver off, then he turned to try to look back for the football. I do want to talk about the replay aspect because, like you said, if you can confirm it, then you don't need to stop it. I do feel like there are some situations, very critical situations, where even though maybe you can confirm it, you stop the game just to eliminate any doubt, because I still think some people don't understand that even though the game is not stopped and the referee puts the headset on, they're still looking at it. And they're looking at it in New York. They're looking at it in the replay booth. I certainly would not have been upset had they stopped the game there, because it does eliminate that question of why didn't they look at it, because I still think there's a disconnect there. But again, it was the right call, and it wouldn't have changed had they stopped the game. They wouldn't have overturned it, obviously. And so, big call there. Let's talk about just big picture here. And we talk about, was the league consistent with these pass interference calls? Because you made the point, 3 reversals this week. There were 3 reversals last week. So we've had 6 in a 2-week span, where we only had 12 I think we had 11 or 12 in the first 12 weeks of the season. So there have been more overturns, and some of these plays look similar to some plays that weren't overturned earlier. And this was a tweet by Mark Maskey from the Washington Post, and he says that the NFL accepts that the replay for interference system isn't working as intended and will consider a variety of changes before the owners vote in March on renewing the rule. So again, I'll ask you, Mike, have we been consistent in applying this rule in replay?
Well, that's a tough question. I guess my answer would be no, because it seems to, even though they say the standard hasn't changed, it has changed. I mean, it's being called tighter, which, by the way, I think it should be. I think it should be, because we've raised this question every week about what is the second standard in replay, what is or what isn't. And I think you're getting closer now, and maybe the standard hasn't changed, but maybe New York has, as they looked at these plays, to say it either is or it isn't. But as you stated, I mean, the last 11 stoppages for replay, 6 have been reversed, 6 out of 11. And I would say, clearly, when you're looking at, remember the Carolina challenge last week for the player coming across the middle, there was a slight grab. Yeah. Was he going to get there? Was he not? You got the play in Kansas City where, the receiver is grabbed, but did it take away his ability to get the pass? Yes, it's interference, but it would not have seemed to rise to that level that, that we were used to in basically the first 11 weeks. So, I would expect that we are going to see this maintained, what we're seeing now, even though there's judgment involved. I would expect that we're going to kind of see this throughout the rest of the regular season and into the playoffs.
Yeah, it definitely highlights the subjectivity in this call. So 12 reversals in 11 weeks, 6 the last 2 weeks. Something changed, and again, but it's such a subjective call, and these calls, we could look at them all and debate, was there enough contact to interfere and significantly interfere with the receiver? And that's where, again, when you open up this door to these subjective calls, it's not as simple as saying the ball hit the ground. There's contact, and now there's another layer. Did the contact significantly hinder the receiver's ability or the opponent's ability to make a play on the ball? Was the ball catchable? Was it beyond a yard? All of these things factor in, and that's what makes this such a hard call on the field and such a hard call to such a hard rule to apply in replay. And so again, I would be in agreement with you, Mike, that I think we're going to see the standard that at least we've seen the last 2 weeks. I think that's what we're going to see the rest of the season.
Hey, Bondo, did you hear how much he talked on that one? And he always talks about me about talking
long.
too much. You're kidding me. That was like long. Forever, for God's sake.
Oh, my God.
Basically repeating the same thing I said. But
boy.
Let's move on to onside
please
kicks.
Move on to that.
Onside kicks is a topic I think worth discussing here. Are we going to see possibly a change in the rules? Might there be a rule proposal about this? Look at the numbers, and you have to differentiate, right? You've got some stats basis on what's a surprise and what's not.
You talk about onside kicks, and 7 onside kicks have been recovered, but we have to differentiate between expected onside kicks and surprise onside kicks. And when the league looks at this, they throw out the surprise, because the surprise is not. That's an anomaly, right? That's seeing something on film, whatever it is. But the expected onside kick is when everybody knows it's coming. And there was some concern because when the rule changed last year where you couldn't have the run up and everybody had to be stationary until the ball was kicked, the numbers dropped from 13% success to 8%. And this year, up until this week, there were only 2 recoveries on expected onside kicks. So the number was about 3 to 4% in terms of success rates. Now, this week, week 13, we saw 3 successful onside kicks on expected kicks. So the number's back up to 13%, which I think is a good, healthy number. So I'd be surprised if the league with these numbers, with 13%, it obviously may change toward the end of the season. I'd be surprised if the league makes a change in the offseason.
And the change, that they talked about making before was giving you the option, right, of maybe like running a 4th and 15 play from the 35-yard line. And if you make the 15 yards, you get to keep the ball. But I don't want to see it change. I mean, I can see all the ramifications that come. Okay, we're going to go 4th and 15. And guess what? There's a false start before the ball is snapped. Now can they go back and can they try the onside kick? I think as long as the number stays up above 10, I still kind of like it. Get back the way you got in, and so I'm hopeful that it stays.
Yeah, I think it will. At least if the numbers stay steady. Let's move on to Bondo, the highest rated game in the last 12 years. Blah blah blah. Now we're flexing Bills games to Sunday Night Football. A testament to how well the Bills are playing this year. Bills, Cowboys, Thanksgiving. It wasn't our game. We had the Lions and the Bears, but there was a hands to the face call. Ross Tucker, hands to the face, LOL, another phantom call. I just don't understand why they throw flags unless it is clearly there. A bunch of these are clearly not there, and they're throwing flags. Anyway, really disheartening, and thumbs down. When you watch that play, and this was a call on Buffalo, and it was actually for hands to the face. Jordan Phillips, I think, was the player. It was for a hand to the face of Travis Frederick, the center. But when we got to the replay, we didn't see that, and we saw some incidental contact to the head neck area of Dak Prescott, the quarterback. And I think that's what Ross and a lot of people were responding to. And to me, and I know you and I have talked about this, is we can't jump to a conclusion because we haven't seen the entire play. And we always tell officials, and I know you know this, see the entire act before you throw your flag. And I think we can't jump to conclusions when we see part of a replay or part of a play. And I think this was a good illustration of it.
Well, quite frankly, I mean, when we were grading games, I mean, we would say if there was a play like that, we would say we weren't going to come to a conclusion until we saw the TV tape, the replays, and the coaches' tapes.
Yep.
So you get different angles on the coaches' tape, including the tight shot that you would have seen that. Now, if you went back to the line feed, actually, which is the live feed of the game, you would have seen the hands of the face. It's a ways away, but it is a shame. It's a hard enough job. And phantoms are when nothing is there. And I think we have to realize, you said it would have been roughing the passer if that was what they called. But phantoms, like the trips last week, they weren't phantoms. The leg was out. The contact with the knees were there. I still say it was tripping, but I'm one of 100,000 people, I think, in that. But But anyways, Ross Tucker, we love you, by the way. But watch the whole play.
Oh, you done?
Yeah.
Sorry, I was checking Instagram. Let's move on. Let's go to, we got a picture. I'm so excited about this. We have a picture of one of Mike's first officiating assignments. He used to help out at Ohio State practices. Okay. And so here's a pic. You can see Mike in the background. This is an Ohio State practice back. What year was this, Mike, that you first started? Look, you got the glasses, you got the uniform, you're wearing the knickers, you've got it. Look, you are looking sharp. You got your flag. What year was that? Where you were helping Ohio State and Woody Hayes? What year was that?
You actually brought this picture. You found this picture. I've never been to Ohio State for a practice in my life, but it does look like my dad.
It does, right? That's what made me look at it.
It does
initially.
look like my dad, which freaks me out because that's what I would look like.
Exactly.
If I put on the
you would
uniform.
look like if you were officiating at that time.
Do I look like him?
It looks
now?
like Al Pereira. It does. Or Baby Yoda.
Oh my Lord. Listen, I won't be back next week. I'm going to do this from the road. I'm not coming back to take this abuse. Unless I get equal time, Bondo. I want equal time.
Hey, thanks for watching. This has been Last Call. Mike Pereira, Dean Blandino. Make sure you check out Bears Cowboys Thursday night on Fox.